Здравствуйте, дорогие друзья!
Good day, dear friends. At this great day, we are sending to you our greetings from Holy Himalaya, from the Valley of Gods, Kulu Valley, from the Roerichs estate. The Roerichs made a special emphasis on distribution of the Roerich Pact in India. They hoped that India itself spearheaded a movement for the Roerich Pact and the banner of peace in Asia. That is why, in 1930s, 1940s, living in Himalayan Kulu Valley, the Roerichs worked hard for accepting the pact by India. They published articles and essays in media, prepared documents, appealed to legal organizations, established relations with outstanding Indian politicians and cultural figures. In 1931, Rabindranath Tagore, a great Indian poet and active fighter for peace, wrote to Nicholas Roerich, "I have keenly followed your great humanitarian work for the welfare of the nations, of which your peace pact idea, with a special banner for protection of cultural treasures, is a singularly effective symbol." Roerich's appeal to protect culture got a response not only from cultural figures in India, but also from many Indian scientific institutions and organizations. Indian History Congress in Allahabad suddenly ordered to join the Roerich Pact. Nagari Pracharini Sabha, the oldest literary society of Benares, at their meeting on the 6th of November 1938, endorsed and gave a high rating to the Roerich Pact and the banner of peace. On the 17th of November 1938, the banner of peace unfurled in Karachi. Commitment to the pact was expressed by other historical research institute, the Allahabad Municipal Museum, Bharat Kala Bhavan in Benares, Mahabodhi Society, the Women's Indian Association, and almost all organs of the press. After the war, in April 1946, it was noted in a resolution of the 6th All India Cultural Unity Conference in Calcutta that the conference fully approved sincere efforts of Professor Nicholas Roerich and warmly supported the Roerich Pact. In 1947, when India got independence, the Indian Committee of the Banner of Peace was founded. The members of it were Indian state and cultural luminaries. Sviatoslav Roerich represented the Roerichs family. The quote, "Roerichs, our leader, has opened a significant chapter in human history by inaugurating this movement and the pact," an outstanding Indian writer, Swami Jagadishvarand. In 1948, the government of India, led by Jawaharlal Nehru, made a decision to approve the Roerich Pact. The quote, "We're indebted to enlightened and far-seeing vision of our Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru for making the recognition of this endeavor by India possible within such a short period of time," Sviatoslav Roerich wrote. "Let us hope that India will now take in Asia the leadership of this movement for cultural unity, and that this treaty for the protection of treasures of human genius becomes soon as universally accepted as the Red Cross." Due to various reasons, the process of accession India to the pact hasn't been finished. In 1958, India ratified Hague Convention of 1954. Considering the above, the ICR looked at India as one of the most significant steps in the international route of the exhibition, the Roerich Pact, History and Modernity, and the banner of peace in 2014-2015 unfurled in some big cities of India. Indian route of the exhibition started on the 7th of July 2014 in Shimla, the capital of Himachal Pradesh. The organizer of the exhibition from the Indian side was Lalit Kala Academy of Fine Arts. The solemn inauguration of the exhibition took place in the art gallery on the main street in building of the famous Gaiety Theatre built by the English at the end of 19th century. The Chief Minister of the State of Himachal Pradesh, Mr. Virbhader Singh, cut a traditional red ribbon. The honored guests lit a traditional Jyoti Deepak lamp as blessing for success and luck. This tradition would be kept in all places of the Indian route of the exhibition, and India welcomed the Roerich Pact on its ancient land. The chief minister of Himachal Pradesh, greeting the representatives of the Russian embassy in India and International Center of the Roerichs, Moscow, and all guests of that special day, showed unaffected joy and pride in starting that exhibition tour in the heart of Himalaya, on the sacred land of Himachal Pradesh. He stressed the importance of the Roerich Pact for preserving treasures of the world culture and described in detail the history of India joining to the pact. Sergei Karmalito, the senior counselor of the Russian embassy in India, read out a welcome address of Alexander Kadakin, the ambassador of Russia to India. The ambassador in his address highlighted the role of the Roerich Pact in the world community efforts consolidation for the cultural treasures protection. He considers it is deeply symbolic that the Roerich Pact was signed at a time when its author lived and worked on the Indian soul in the spiritual Himalayas. The ambassador expressed gratitude to the organizers of the event from both Russian and Indian sides and wished that great exhibition every success and wished all participants of the cultural program effective work. Kim Chatterjee, a professor of the Shimla University and a prominent artist, addressed to the guests of the exhibition. The more I study Nicholas Roerich, the more I bow before his over. The more I watch his paintings, the more I improve myself on the way of the spirit evolution, the artist said. The whole mankind is bound to the peacekeeping initiative of Nicholas Roerich for preservation of the world cultural heritage. By virtue of this exhibition opening, we felt the importance of turning his ideas into reality. Mr. Shakti Singh Chandel, Life Trustee of International Roerich Memorial Trust, noted that the Roerich Pact is a great gift of Nicholas Roerich to the mankind for preservation of peace in the entire world. Mr. Chandel described in detail the history of establishing two organizations by Dr. Sviatoslav Roerich, the RMT Nagar and the ICR in Moscow, and perspectives of collaboration between those two cultural organizations. While there were solemn events dedicated to the opening of the exhibition, the Roerich Pact, History and Modernity in Shimla, and active preparation of the permanent exhibition, the Roerich Pact, History and Modernity, was in the Roerichs Memorial Estate in Kulu Valley. The matter was that there were two exhibitions arrived to India from International Center of the Roerichs. The first was for the exhibition tour through the cities of India, and the second was especially for the museum complex of the RMT. And it was really principle, and exactly there in Kulu, the Roerich Pact was worked out. The appeals about protection of culture came exactly from there to the whole world. The solemn inauguration of a new exhibition, the Roerich Pact, History and Modernity, took place in the RMT on the 12th of July 2014. And that holiday solidarity of Russia and India was felt in the atmosphere of the Roerichs estate. It sounded in all performances, all musician acts. The exhibition was opened in two halls of a memorial building of a biochemical laboratory in Urusvati Institute. Mr. Ramesh Chandra, Indian curator of the RMT, in his greeting speech noted that the exhibition prepared in collaboration with the ICR Moscow was a message to people of different nationalities and different cultures, to many visitors and guests of the RMT, with an appeal to perceive the greatest value of culture and add their voice to protection of cultural treasures under the banner of peace.
First of all, I would like to thank Madam Larisa, Russian Curator, to give me the opportunity to speak about the Roerich Pact. This is just like a propagation. We have to propagate the ideas of the Nicholas Roerich, and this pact is very important for the preservation and saving our heritage. And as you know that ICR Moscow, I am also thankful to the ICR Moscow, who established a gallery named Roerich Pact. But is Roerich Pact is the protection for culture institutions, educational institutions, and heritage institutions. This is very important pact, because heritage is very important. Saving heritage very and create awareness about the heritage. Because past it is very important for the new generation to study and know how great our forefathers were. So when we go Ursvati, very beautiful and meaningful gallery we see, our artists see. They feel very happiness that what great work Nicholas Roerich and his family, great family has done. So they have planted a root now. This root is now giving the fruits to the world. We need to follow the teachings of great Nicholas Roerich. Thank you very much. We are, as a team, we would be working in the future also, and this is our moral duty. I would like to. They have established this. These our work is only to save, to protect them, to look after them. If we failed in this mission, we are, there is no meaning to be here. This is my.
The quote: "I was in this building about a month ago and saw the whole condition," said Mr. Rakesh Kanwar, director of International Roerich Memorial Trust. He was the director at that time and deputy commissioner of Kulu. The quote: "Only joint efforts could help in creating such a beautiful exhibition in such a short time frame." Mr. Kanwar appreciated the ICR and made a special acknowledgement to Lyudmila Shapashnikova. The quote: "I visited International Center of the Roerichs on a delegation of the IRMT management in October 2012 and had a meeting with Mistress Shapashnikova. She is an amazing woman, real scientist and enthusiast who continues the Roerich activity in strengthening friendship and collaboration between India and Russia. Her heroic work deserves profound respect." Dear friends, let me invite Mr. Rakesh Kanwar to speak. At the present, he is a secretary of the governor of Himachal Pradesh. Mr. Kanwar's speech was recorded in Shimla in his office in Raj Bhavan at the beginning of February this year.
I am fortunate to be associated with the Roerich Trust at Kulu, first in my capacity as the Director of Language, Art and Culture, Himachal Pradesh, and then later as Deputy Commissioner of Kulu District. I am also fortunate to have visited ICR Moscow, at Moscow, and it is my proud privilege to say today that the work being done by ICR Moscow and IRMT at Kulu Nagar, not only for preserving the rich heritage of Nicholas Roerich, but also in preservation of culture and heritage is really remarkable. Given the fact that Roerichs spent a lot of time in Kulu Valley and they made it their home and worked here and in the surrounding areas, it is a rich heritage that we cherish here in Himachal Pradesh, and it is one of the major tourist attractions at Nagar, and anybody going to Kulu or Manali makes it a point to visit the museum at Nagar, which has such wonderful and rich collection. Nicholas Roerich was a visionary, and the Roerich Pact signed in 1935 to preserve culture and heritage is not only required today, all the more, even though we had a world war after that, and which showed that whenever a war happens or a conflict happens or there is some tension between the nations, the first casualty is the built heritage. But it is not just the built heritage which is losing, which we lose in as a result of these conflictual heritage both. And in this context, his message and his Roerich Pact and his banner of peace assume a lot of importance. I very clearly remember having that exhibition in 2014, which traveled all the way from Russia to India, and it was exhibited in Kulu and also in Shimla and in other parts of the country, which reiterated this message which Roerich gave to the humanity, that we must, in order to progress preserve our built-up heritage, our intangible heritage, and above all, our shared heritage. Because as human beings, our needs are same, our desires are same, and our problems are same. Unless we cooperate, collaborate, and associate with each other, unless we forget the differences that are superficial and connect at human level, we will not be able to progress. So today this message of peace and brotherhood and international cooperation is all the more important. And the institutions like ICR Moscow and IRMT Nagar are playing a great role in bringing this message to people on day-to-day basis, and also putting up this agenda before the policy makers and the leaders of the nations to come together and join hands in preserving this rich heritage that we have got. I am sure that this International Museum at Nagar and ICR Moscow will continue to work in this direction. My best wishes to both the institutions and the people who are engaged in this tireless work. At the same time, we must also remember that due to the presence of Roerichs in Kullu and Nagar, Nagar is one of the most important tourist destinations in Himachal Pradesh, and I hope it remains so, and we are able to strengthen it further and make it a much secure, better and beautiful place for the visitors who come here and see this great work done by the Roerichs for the world peace, not only for the peace of this region, but for world peace. Thank you very much.
In September 2014, the exhibition The Roerich Pact, History and Modernity was inaugurated in the city of Chandigarh, the capital of two states, Punjab and Haryana. The exhibition was opened in a gallery not far from Governmental Museum and Art Gallery, where some Indian landscapes of Nicholas Roerich are exhibited. The arranger of the exhibition in Chandigarh, as in Shimla, was National Lalit Kala Academy of Fine Arts. The major organizer was a famous Indian artist, a secretary of Punjab Lalit Kala Academy, Professor Sadhna Sangar. Bibi Harjinder Kaur, the head of Punjab Arts Council, said that India loves and highly respects Nicholas Roerich, the great Russian artist. His paintings are kept in museums of India. The ideas of the pact about protecting culture made a warm response in hearts of Indian people. Bibi Harjinder Kaur expressed gratitude to International Center of the Roerichs and International Committee for the Preservation of the Roerichs Heritage for providing opportunity to show the exhibition dedicated to the pact in Chandigarh, the city that is famous for its museums, galleries, theaters, and known by its alive art atmosphere. Balaramji Das Tandon, the Chhattisgarh state governor, the chief guest of the exhibition, in his speech, talked about applicability of the Roerichs Pact for saving world cultural heritage. He noted that the Roerichs estate in Nagar, where the Russian artist and his family lived for a long time, became a magnet for numerous guests and tourists from India and the whole world. The quote, "The Roerichs Memorial Complex is transforming into a source of knowledge and education," said Sergei Karmalito, the senior counsel of the Russian Embassy in India, in his speech. Such implemented Roerichs dreams correspond to the mutual aspiration of two great nations, Russia and India, and the spirit of their time-tested friendship, which have reached a new level of special and privileged strategic partnership. In January 2015, the exhibition of the ICR, the Roerich Pact, History and Modernity, was inaugurated in the city of Gandhinagar, the capital of Gujarat, in the Indian Legal History Museum of the Gujarat National Law University. Gujarat is one of the cultural and spiritual centers of the country. Its historical and cultural sites, works of ancient masters, represent all religions and cultures of India. By the way, Girnar, a saint mountain with ancient Jainism temples, put on a famous picture of Svetoslav Roerich, is exactly here in Gujarat. Gujarat National Law University was founded in 2003. The slogan of the university is, "Let all good and noble thoughts come to us from all directions." The first in India legal history museum was set at the university. The aim of the museum was to show 5,000 years of development Indian culture and civilization in the field of justice system and to inspire future generations for humanistic ideas. Opening the exhibition, The Roerich Pact, History and Modernity in the Museum Halls, was the first and really significant step in realizing these plans. The inventor of the idea to organize the exhibition dedicated to the Roerich Pact was Indubala Nahakpam, the head and curator of the museum. Having known on the internet about the exhibition inauguration in Peace Palace in Hague on the 15th of April 2014, Mistress Nahakpam made the best of welcoming the international project in her museum. The exhibition inauguration happened on the 6th of January 2015. Professor Bimal Patel, the director of the university, gave a welcome speech to the participants. The quote, "It's important to realize that the Roerich Pact was only the first step towards the future development of a new legal culture in the 21st century," Mr. Patel underlined. All written laws must conform to the universal unwritten principles of morality, fairness, justice, equality, autonomy, dignity and respect. That is known as the higher law theory. And according to higher law ideas, the primary duty of the state is to sustain and develop the spiritual unity of its citizens by carefully preserving the best specimens of national culture heritage, promoting universal culture and spiritual growth of all people, especially the young ones. The chief guest of the exhibition, Mr. Om Prakash Kohli, the governor of the Gujarat, said in his speech, "Roerich is a legend person, working in the field of peace and harmony to protect the cultural and historical monuments against their destruction." He believed that peace on the earth was a prerequisite to planetary survival and the continuing progress of spiritual evolution by uniting in the common language of beauty and knowledge. It has to be said that representatives of Indian cultural intellectual society deeply understand value of culture in our life and necessity of its protection. I welcome to speak Mr. Hari Chauhan, curator of Himachal State Museum in Shimla, and a good friend of the IRMT.
It is a matter of honor that ICR is organizing many programs during this corona pandemic about the Roerich Pact and contribution of Roerich in the protection of cultural heritage and cultural value. Nicholas Roerich was a great philosopher, archaeologist, artist, and one of the important and greatest thing what he had done for the international community is the Roerich Pact. It is the pact dedicated for the preservation and conservation of cultural values like our archaeological sites, artistic works, and historical monuments. Most of these things remain under the threat of war. And Roerich took up this matter and signed the first international treaty for its protection. If we lose our cultural value and cultural things what we have inherited from our ancestor, our past, only that can make peace in the world, because it is the moral value for every citizens of that, maybe of any country, any globe of this world. it is the duty of every person to preserve and conserve the cultural heritage. It is the only source which can bring out the peace. And Nicholas Roerich adopted the banner of peace for the preservation of this cultural value. We are very thankful, and I want to pass on my best wishes to the ICR, who is doing this noble job for the last many years to spread the message of Roerich in the international community, to preserve the cultural values among our new generations and people who are most worried about the culture's heritage. Himachal Pradesh got the privilege to this Roerich centers in Himachal, and we are lucky to have some time of Nicholas Roerich which he had spent in Kullu, and have explored this scientific, cultural and archaeological aspects. He had carried so many expeditions in the Himalayan region when he was here, and started so many programs regarding the medicines, cultural, artistics and other archaeological expeditions. Most of the Himalayan and architectural and cultural heritage to the outer world. Otherwise, in the past, Himachal Pradesh was very less accessible and lesser known to the outer world. It is the services and contribution of Nicholas Roerich who brought particularly the Kullu in the map of international map, and publicized, pass on the this research and information about the rich cultural heritage of Himachal Pradesh on the international platform. We are so privileged about Nicholas Roerich for this kind contribution of our Himachal. Government of Himachal Pradesh had taken many steps for the upliftment of Roerich institution established in Nagar in Kullu district. And government has provided many facilities and also take care of that institution, which is the symbol of friendship of India and Russia, and trying to strengthen it by providing financial assistance, and government is taking all necessary action, and we will hope very shortly we will find this institution in new shape and with new concepts, where people visiting this, particularly the foreigners and Indian visiting to know about the Nicholas Roerich and his contribution, and government is trying to pass on it very informative and descriptive and latest format, so that people can know about the contribution and the great personality of art lover Nicholas Roerich.
In spring 2015, the exhibition project, The Roerich Pact, History and Modernity, was inaugurated in New Delhi, the Indian capital, in the Azad Bhavan Art Gallery of the Indian Council for Cultural Relations. The inauguration was taken part by a delegation of International Center of the Roerichs, the ambassador of Russia to India, From Indian side by Professor Lokesh Chander, the president of the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, a renowned scholar of Buddhism. I want to remind that the scholar's father, outstanding Indologist Raghuveer, was in close connection with the Nicholas Roerich's family due to his scholar interests. Those working in friendly relations also mostly specified Lokesh Chander's ways of scholarly workflow. One of his works, published in the ICR issue 100 years after George Roerich's birthday, was precisely called By Pathways of George Roerich. On those pathways, a meeting of Lokesh Chander and Lyudmila Shaposhnikova happened. A map of Shambhala was made in Lokesh Chander's garage. One of the chapters of Lyudmila Shaposhnikova's book, Along the Master's Route, starts with these words. Professor Lokesh Chander said in his speech, Nicholas Roerich and his sons were deeply anguished by the condition of culture, and that anguish became a poem of their quest, a poem of humanity. And he added, the Roerich Pact is a dream of entire mankind, and at the same time an endless search of essence. India is not an outland, but a whole blood sister of Russia, Nicholas Roerich often said. Maybe that is why the idea of the pact, engendered by the great artist of Russia, got a warm response on the Indian land, and has been in souls and hearts of Indian people to present.